and I'll be following the book. I mean, I'll try to follow that on topics that are there in the book related to strings. Okay, let's start then, guys. So if you have any questions, just ask me. Maybe directly ask me on the mic. I'm fine with that. So yeah. So let's see. Let me pull out the chat window. I'm not seeing the chat, guys, so you can speak directly in the mic.
Sir, is there a separate chapter on strings in the book,
Yeah,
or is
yeah,
it
it's
covered in
chapter
arrays?
13. Chapter 13.
30, okay.
13, 13. There are not 30 chapters in the book. It's 13, 1 3.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So what do I mean by a string when I say a string? So you guys have already seen this before, right? You have done this innumerable number of times. So what is this? This is a string, right? So in its very, very basic sense, this is called a string literal, right? So, and this is just like you have numbers, right? You have one, you have two, you have three, right? Just like numbers, you have something called a string. So numbers, these are called constants in your program, and this particular the text that you write within this double quotes, right? This is called a string literal. So what is its physical significance? How is it stored in memory? Can anyone explain that? I think we have already covered that. I mean, sir has covered this, I think, already, right? So when you talk about printf, you always give it a string literal. So now what do I mean by literal? Remember in the very, very first day I explained to you what is a program data. You guys still remember that, right? So yeah. So program data meant the data that is a part of the program text, right? So guys, just speak up because I'm not looking at the chats now. So someone can just speak up. It's fine. So yeah. So program data meant the data that is there in the program text. Numbers are program data. If I just say int x equals to 2, this value 2 is program data, right? Similarly, this literal that is within this quotes, this string literal is also program data. Just remember this. So string literal is a program data which is embedded in the text of your program, the program text literal. Now how is this literal stored in your program? Now coming back to the very, very first discussion. So program data are stored in programs memory, right? So that means this string literal has to be stored in your program's memory. How is it stored in your program memory? It is simply stored as an array of bytes. It is simply because each value here is can be stored in 1 byte, right? H is a single character, can store it in 1 byte. E is a single character, store it in 1 byte. Similarly, all the other characters, including the space. So when your program executes, what it will do is it will look for this program data, the number 2, for example, then the string literal hello world, and then it will store them in the program memory. The number 2 is fine. It will just pick up, maybe since it's an integer, right? So it's a number. So it will store maybe two, it will store it in 2 3 bytes. But then the string literal, right? String literal is a full object in itself. This entire thing is one object, right? This entire thing is one, we could say it's one coherent thing, right? So how does it store this? Because you never know what is the length. Because for integers you know what is the length, right? Maximum of 2 or 4 bytes. But for this string literal, you don't know what will be its length, right? It can be of any length for that matter. I mean, I could write anything here, right? It could be of any length. So in that case, how does it get stored in memory? So it's pretty simple. So all that your compiler or your loader, for that matter, your loader will do is it will allocate an address to this literal, uh, anything. So because your program would have a program, it will have a memory, right? It will have a memory area, like this is the place where I am going to store, let's say, program data. So then it will pick up any random address from that location, from that area, and then and then it will start putting the characters starting from that address one after another. For example, H will be the very first character. In the next byte, E, L, L, O. So it will keep on filling those bytes, one character at a time. Then at the very end, when it has reached, when it has placed D, when it has placed this character D in the byte starting from an address, then at the end it will just place a special character. This character is called the null character. So null character is the character which ends the string in your memory. This is a very, very important thing, guys. Just remember this. So what do I mean by null character? Null character is simply \0. So let me just say, put it here. So this character, right? Let me just say it null. So this character, not null, sorry, null, yeah. So this character that I'm talking about, this character. So your loader or your maybe, yeah, let's keep it simple. Your compiler will load this string literally in memory, one character at a time, starting from some base address. And then when it has placed D, it will store one more character after D, which is called the null character, which is \0. So this character is the delimiter for a string. This character says that this is the end of the string. Is this clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So why do you need this? Why do you need this \0 character? Because how your program behaves with string is it will only see the first. Maybe I'll explain it here itself. So whenever you operate with strings, right, your program does not see the entire string at once. All that it sees is or the way to touch your string is to go to the base address. That's it, the base address of the string. Or the way to get a handle on your string is by only going to the base address where the string starts from. There is no way in which you could just see with integers. It was fine, right? Integer, float, it was fine, because we know that integer or floats, they occupy 4 or 8 bytes in memory. So we know when we are accessing an integer, we know that we have to fetch the next 8 bytes to get the entire integer data out from memory. But for strings, we don't know what is the length of the string. I mean, we don't know how many characters go in making that string, right? Because it's of arbitrary length. We don't know. It can occupy 100 bytes or it can occupy, let's say, 10 bytes. We don't know. All that we know is the starting address of the string. So that is the handle, or that is the, you could say, that is the access point of a string, the starting address of the string. So once your program has a hold on the starting address of the string, all that it will do is it will keep on visiting the bytes from that address one after another until and unless it encounters a \0. The moment it sees a \0, it means it has found the string. So this is the string. So you could have more strings following that, but then \0 is a way to say the string started from this address and now it ended at this address. Whenever you print a string, you never see \0. See, here I have not printed \0. \0 is something which is placed at the end of the string by the compiler. And this is the way of saying the string ends here. So the string contains data from the starting address to the byte which contains the \0 character, which is the null character. This is a very, very important concept, guys. Just keep this in mind. The string ends, be it a literal or be it a variable, the string ends with a \0. And whenever your program is encountering a string, this is how it operates with a string. You give it the starting address, your program will just walk through all the especially your string routines, right? So printf is a string routine, by the way. Printf, this thing, right? This inverted the number will, sorry, the text between this inverted quotes, double quotes, sorry, not inverted quotes. The string is the printf function is operating on this string. So the printf function does not see the entire string in one go. All that the string printf function has is the starting address of the string, which is hello world. And then the function will simply walk one byte at a time, starting from that address until it encounters a \0. And that's where the printf function will say, okay, this is the string, and just go and print it. Okay, so this is how this is how a string literally stored in memory. So now just to show you what I spoke about just now. So let's say I do this. Now tell me, what will I see on the screen? Can someone respond? What will I see in the screen?
Number of characters printed.
Any other answers? Feel free, guys. Feel free to speak up, because otherwise the class looks really dull. I mean, not looks as in it sounds really dull. Okay, so I got one answer saying that it will.
It will print the sum of all the ASCII characters in the string.
Oh, that's a more fancy answer. And any other answers? Both of you are wrong, by the way, but yeah, any other answers? Okay, so let's see what it prints out.
Maybe the address, or I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
Whoever is saying that, it's exactly correct. See, I get this is an address. This is an address. So why did I get an address? Because what did I tell you? Whenever I write a string, right, even in the literal form also, I mean, this is a literal representation of a string. It's not a variable yet. It's just a literal representation, right? It's just a string literal. Even if when I write this, right, I don't see the entire string. I just see its starting address. Remember this, guys. I don't see the entire string in one, because it's not possible, right? I don't know how many number of bytes I have to go to visit the entire string. So there is no way for the printf to know how many characters go in the string, or for that matter, to read the entire string in one stretch. So it just has the starting address. So this thing, I mean, programmatically, I mean, this is just giving me the starting address of the string. Now I will show you I'll show you one more trick. You guys know character pointers, right? Yes, no? You guys know character pointers, right?
Sir taught a bit of pointers, sir, but not exactly character pointers.
Oh, so see, pointers are simple, right? Pointers not simple as in, I mean, the definition of pointer is simple. Pointer is just a variable which will be storing the address of some stuff, right, from your program's memory. Right? Pointer is a that variable, because you need some data type to store addresses. You cannot use integers, or you cannot use float to store addresses. So pointer is that special data type which allows you to store program addresses, right? In a very like simple way. Pointer is a variable which stores addresses. When I say character pointer, it will store the address of a character. It will store the address of a byte or a character. When I say integer pointer, it can store the address of an integer in your program memory. When I say a float pointer, it will store the address of a float data in your program's memory. Is this clear now? Okay, you can type now, guys. Is this clear, the character pointer?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So when I did this here, when I did this particular line, when I wrote this line, what does this line mean? This line means that this hello world, right? This thing, hello world, as in the string literal hello world, it will give me the address of the very first byte or the very first character, that is H. And that is the starting address of the string. This should be clear, guys. See, on the left hand side, I'm using a character pointer, and on the right hand side, I'm just writing the string literal. hello world. So I know that left hand side is the character pointer, right? Character pointer. So the right hand side should be an address value, address, because my data type is is a pointer data type, right? On characters. So the right hand side should be an address. Now address of what? It should be an address of a character because I have a character pointer. That's why when I write my literal on the right hand side, what happens is I get the starting address. Sorry, I get not starting address. I get the address of the first character on the string, which is the starting address of the string. If I say what is the address of H, that is the first character in the string, right? In the string literal. So that itself is the starting address of the string. Now what I can do is, now see this line gave me a hold on the string in program's memory. So now let's say I have a handle, or then let's say now I have just touched the string using the first character, the address of the first character. Now I have a, now I can traverse the entire string, right? Character by character until I see the \0 or the null character. So let me just do this now. If I just say P and I just say 4, can anyone say what will happen now in the program?
Hello.
Yes, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me verify that. See, I get an O. See, what I did two things here. First, I got the handle on the string by getting its starting address, because whenever I use a string literal, I don't get the entire string, I just get the starting address. What is the starting address? Starting address is the address of the first character in the string. That's why I have to store the address of a string in a character pointer. And
Sir,
what did I do in the second line? I starting from that. So I guess you guys already know pointers, right? Pointers, arithmetical pointers. I mean, basic operations with pointer. Whenever I do this, right, this operation here, p square brackets 4, what it tells me is you take the starting address of p and add a value of 4, and now you go to that address. So starting address of P was the address of hello. Then when you added 4 to that address, you ended up in the address of O. That's why you got, and since I'm using a percentile C, so I got the character O printed out.
sir, I have a doubt.
Yes.
In this case, the pointer p points to the string hello world, right?
Yes.
So if we do printf %d p or printf %d star, star p, will it yield the same answer?
Yes. Good. So you want to, let's try this first, right? See what will I get here? I will get the address of the string now.
Yes, sir.
Because percentile, it will give me the value that is stored, I mean, in the pointer variable. So pointer variable will store an address, right? So then
Yes,
it will
sir.
give me the value of that address. So that's why I got this big number. Now,
Okay.
if I use a pointer here, what will I say? Pointer means what? Pointer means give me the data that is located in the address. Pointer, when you use pointer with a, sorry, when you use a star with a pointer variable, what does it give you? It gives you the thing that is located in the address, right? The thing that is stored in the address.
Yes, sir.
So what is, I have not incremented p here, right? So what is stored in p at the very beginning? In the address that is pointed to by p.
Address of h.
Sorry.
Address of h.
Yeah. So p is storing the address of h, but then when I use a star p, what happens? I get the
Square value of h.
String, right?
Yeah, I get the thing that is stored in the address, right? The star
Yes, sir.
operator.
Yes, sir.
You guys know about the star operator, right?
Sir, it gives the value at
Yes, it gives the value at that address. So there are two things here. This is giving me the address. This is giving me the thing that is located inside this, inside the character pointer variable. Because I'm just using the variable, right? So what it will give me? It will give me the thing that is stored in the variable. And what does a pointer variable store? The pointer variable stores an address. So it will give me an address, right? Because this is what
So,
is stored in the variable.
Sir, we
Yes,
are just trying here to save the address of hello world into P,
yes,
right?
correct.
So if we just use int star P, then it would also hold the address of hello world.
Okay,
Then
let's
why
see that.
are we using in
Let's
that
see that
char?
character. Yeah, let's see that. But you guys understand the difference between P and star P, right? So be frank, guys. I mean, if you don't understand, I can cover it. So that's it's important.
Sir, can you please do star p output once?
Okay, okay. I will come to your question with whoever was asking me that why integer and character. So let's see that. So you want to see this output, right?
No, this we already did. The
The
star
pointer,
p.
pointer. Okay, star. So you will get the ASCII value of h. That's it.
Okay.
And I don't know what is the ASCII value of h. What's 104? I think. So you'll
Okay, sir.
just see
Yes,
104.
correct.
Yeah. So if you just put c, that is better. Let's print out the character directly. So you will see a h. See, the p here. If we just use p, this will just give me whatever is stored in the variable. Pointer is an address storing variable, right? So it will give me the address. But then with pointer variables, you have this extra, you could say extra magic or extra functionality. That is, whenever you use a star along with a pointer variable, you also can access the data that is located in the address. So this star p gives me the data that is located in the address. And what is the data that is located in the address? That is h, right? Because p was pointing to the address of h. So that address contains h. So that's why star p gave me h.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
so
you, sir.
yeah. So as someone was asking, if I just say it as integer int pointer p, let's see what happens now. Yeah, see, you will get an error here. Why is there an error? Because I am trying to store the address. See, whenever I use this word on the right hand side, I get what does this mean? It gives me an address, right? It gives me the address of the very first character of the string, which is the address of the string, right? But then that address is not of an integer value, right? It's an address of a character stored at a particular memory location. So you cannot use an integer pointer. You could use only an integer pointer when you are pointing to a location in memory, or when you want to store the address of a location in memory which is storing an integer. Here it is not storing an integer, right? It is storing a character, because string is like a collection of characters. So the address of a string has to be a character address, right? So that's why you cannot use an integer pointer. These two things has to match. Your pointer type has to match the data type to which it is pointing. I know you could just say it will just store an address, right? So how does it matter if I'm using a integer or a character pointer? All that it does is store an address. But then it has to store the address of a specific data type. If it is an integer data type, you have to use an integer pointer. If it is a character data type, which is the string in this case, then you have to use a character pointer. That's why you have different types of pointers, because otherwise one single pointer would have been enough. Is this clear now? Whoever was asking this question?
So, sir, in the next line, if we can do like int star k equals to p, then it would be correct.
Okay.
If we store the address into some another data type.
You want to switch, you want to do this.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. You need to do this, right? Yeah, again you will get an error. See, because now you are trying to store, again you see here you stored an address in p. Now you are trying to store the address of p in an integer pointer, right? But yeah, but you can do one thing. I think you can do one thing here. You can store that address as an integer in an integer variable. Oh no, still you cannot, because that's in cap, it's a pointer. So you cannot play with pointers like that. See, whatever the type of pointer is, you can only mix and match between that type of pointer in your program. Do you get me?
Yes, sir.
You will get an, see, there is a way to if you're adamant that you have to make this work, you can do a casting here. You can do this. You can cast it. It should work. See, now there is no error. What have I done here? I have just said forget whatever type of pointer it was. Now cast this to this type of pointer. So it will cast it. It will cast this pointer to an integer pointer. But this is wrong. This is very, very risky. Don't do this, because you might just lose the handle on the string maybe, or you might just end up with a wrong address. So don't do this. But through casting you can do this. So you see, pointers and strings are very, very interrelated. So it's like, if I'm discussing strings, I have to discuss pointers. They cannot like be separate discussions on both, because they're both the same actually. Yeah. So these things are clear, right? The string literal, the address of the string, the how do you get a handle on the string literal? By going to its starting address, and then you just keep on whatever functions you have, right? Then the function keeps on walking starting from the starting address of the string, and then it stops the moment it sees a \0. Any questions here?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, go ahead. I'm just
Sir, you earlier you used a program in which you wrote p square bracket 4.
yes.
So what will it do? Like here it was character, so it's the same thing. But let's say the pointer was of a type int. So what will it do? Will it go 4 bytes ahead, or will it go 4 into 4 bytes ahead?
4 into 4 bytes.
Okay.
Because remember this, guys, I mean it's part of the pointer arithmetic, but what happens is, if you add some value to a pointer, the pointer will skip by the size of the data type it is pointing to. Is this sentence clear? If you add a value to a pointer, it will skip by that value multiplied by size of the data type. If it was an integer, let's say integer is 2 bytes, then and you say p plus 4, then it will jump by 8 bytes, 4 into 2, because each integer is 2 bytes. So that's pointer arithmetic there. In this case,
Excuse me, sir.
I said yes. Yes, tell me.
Sir, could you demonstrate what you're saying?
See, what he's asking is, see, it's quite simple. So what he's asking is printf. See, what he's asking is, if I do a 4 here, right? So what does this translate to? I mean, let me just write equivalent expressions here so that you guys can understand. So this means this p square bracket 4 means p plus 4, right?
Yes, sir.
P plus 4. Yeah, not in fact p plus 4. You have to get the value out, right, at this address. So it will be star p plus 4. This is clear, right? This thing, star p plus 4, because this p plus 4 will give you an address, and then star will give you the value at that address. So what he was asking is, when I do p plus 4, how many bytes do I go ahead starting from p? So I go 4 bytes ahead. Why 4 bytes? Because the size of a character, so it's a character pointer, remember, guys. So whenever I do some arithmetic on the pointer, it will skip by the size of the data type. What is the size of the data type here? It's 1 byte, right? So there is a hidden 1 here, 4 into 1. Because the size of a data type, the size of the the size of the data type that is just pointing to is 1 byte. So this expression is actually p plus 4 into 1. If p would have been an integer pointer, right? So if it would have been an integer pointer, let's say integer pointer x equals to 12, and then if you would have done this same operation, that is p plus 4, this 1 would not have been a 1, it would have been 2, let's say, because the size of an integer is 2 bytes maybe. So there would be an implicit 2 hidden there, which is the size of the data type. So the pointer will jump by 8 bytes, not 4 bytes. because the data type to which the pointer is pointing to is of size 2 bytes long.
Yes, I got it.
You got it, right? So think of it as very simple thing, man. I mean, you cannot make a pointer go between data types. It will always skip data types, right? So now since P is pointing to integers, it has to skip integers. So every time it has to go 2 bytes, 2 bytes, 2 bytes. You cannot all of a sudden end up going 1 byte, right? Because if you do that, then your pointer will end up somewhere in between an integer. But your pointer has to start at the starting address of an integer, right? So that's why it will skip by 2 bytes because the size of the integer is 2 bytes. But in this case, since it's a character, so it will skip by 111 because the character is 1 byte long. Yes, tell me.
So can't we write it as 4 of P?
Sorry?
Can't we write it as 4 of P? I don't know it's correct or wrong.
Let's see that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that seriously. You want to do this?
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry. You want to do this, right?
No. 4, then P is inside the brackets.
Oh, I've never tried this. Let's see. I think it would be an error. Yeah. Oh, sorry. That's not an error. Good. That's not an error. I have an extra line. That's why. Oh, you discovered a new syntax. Yeah, it's good. See, both this sentence means both this expression are the same. 4 of P and P of 4. You could also write, I mean, just to confuse the reader, you could also write the same expression as 4 of square bracket of P. This will mean the same thing. Take P and add 4 bytes to it and go to that location and get the value out.
What does square bracket mean here?
Square bracket means, how do you get hold of an address for starting from a base address? You just add some value, right? So this P plus 4 will give me the address of the 4th byte, right? Starting from P. But this will just give me the address. This will not go, it's not going to give me the value. To get the value out from this address, I have to use a star operator. So this square is a shorthand way of writing the same thing. That is, go to the location P plus 4 and get the value out. So square operator just does the same thing.
Okay, sir, and also one more thing. So in the second expression, shouldn't it the 4 is an integer and then this is a pointer thing? So and we are not even typecasting.
Exactly, that's a very good question. See, 4 is not an integer as such. It's a constant that you have written, right? See, again, that's a very good question. So let me do this. So let me say int. I'm going deep into pointers, but I have to cover string input and output as well. So let's do this. I'll quickly finish this topic with this example. So instead of using 4, I just use an integer variable. Let's say they're the same thing, right? Instead of 4, I'm just using a variable that stores 4. I don't know. Let's see if it works. Okay, it works. So what happens? See, your question was P is a character pointer, right? But then integer is an integer value. So how does this happen? P is a character pointer, I agree, but what is the value? The address. The address is an integer, right? I mean the address. If you just print out P, what do you see? You see an integer value, right? So you see this big number, isn't it? 419582. So what happens in this case is there's an implicit type conversion. So these are called implicit type conversions. So automatically your compiler handles this. You don't have to I mean do much hard work there. It knows, okay, this is the value of P. It will because it's finally the address is also a number, right? So it will convert that to an integer and do the operation, and then that will give you an address, and then you can go to the value located in the address using the start operator. So there's an implicit conversion happening. But that does not mean that you can store this P directly into an integer variable. For that, you have to use a conversion, explicit casting. You cannot just say int of xxx equals to p. You cannot directly store the value of the variable, value of the pointer variable, character pointer variable into some integer pointer variable. There you have to use the casting.
Also, like when we are doing p of square bracket 4, so it will be p plus 4. So then the p plus 4 will also be a pointer, or will it be an integer?
P plus 4 will be a, see for I mean the program, when it is operating, that expression p plus 4, maybe it will see that as an integer, but then the outcome is an address.
Okay, okay.
The outcome is an address. It's just not a normal integer, right? It's an address.
Yes.
The outcome is an address, but then the way it operates is a number. The way it operates on the expression is as it treats as it is a number.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so yeah, so then we are done with string literals. So this is the string lit. I mean, I have explained most of the internets of the strings anyways. So just remember, whenever you use a string, this is how it gets stored. Starting address, byte, 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 and finally \0. That's where the string ends. So now let's go to variables. So now what have I discussed? I have discussed string literals, that is string constants. Now let us use variables to store strings. See, I already have discussed one variable. How you can store strings in your program? Tell me. This is the way of storing strings, right? Character pointer p, because you need a handle to that string, and then p is a very I mean pointer is a very good handle. You get the starting address of the handle, right? So let's try and do this. It's a very good experiment. So now, okay, Mukund is asking why 4p and p4 are same. Mukund, do you understand p4? Do you understand that expression p square bracket 4?
Yes, sir.
Just say, just think of 4p as the same expression. It's just a weird way of writing it. Just think of 4p as the same. There's no logical explanation as to why 4p and p4 are the same. I mean, it's just the syntax maybe that C treats both these things as the same. So whenever you say a number and then square bracket pointer, you just take the pointer out and put the number inside the square bracket. That's what it actually means. Yeah, this is same. Yeah, exactly. I think Lavisha explained it. Good. You see it, right? If you do p plus 4 and you do 4 plus p, that's the same thing, right? Because the addition is commutative.
Sir? Sir, can't we just...
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, can't we just store the hello world as character p, and in the square bracket we write the size of the array?
Okay, what do you want to do? You want to say character p equals to what?
No, sir. I want to say character p square bracket, writing the size and then storing.
Okay, you want to do this 10, let's say. You want to do this, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's a perfect way of storing strings. That's an array. That's an array way of storing strings. I'll come to that. You are correct. You could also store it like this. I'll come
So,
to
sir,
that.
these two cases are just the same, like character pointer and storing it in this way.
It's not the same. I was coming to that actually. You just skipped ahead. You guys don't have class till after 11, right? I mean, till 11:30, you guys are free now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Because this might go to, I mean, yeah. How is it with sir? Is he finishing it in 1 hour or is it extending? Is he extending? It extends, right?
So yes, sir. By 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, so this is a very involved topic with pointers especially. So I may just go to 11:30. So
No problem, sir.
yeah, okay. Okay, so let's try to do one thing here. So see, the picture that we have in our mind now is we have a string literal in our program memory, hello world, right? It starts with some address, which is who is holding that address for us? The variable character for pointer variable p is holding that address for us, right? And then we can then we can start walking from that address and get access to all the characters of the string until we hit a null character or \0. So now let's try and modify one of the characters here. How would I modify that? Tell me. Let's say I want to make I want to change the small o to capital O. What would I do here?
star
Sir, store the
star
address of O
P4
in
is
another pointer and change the value.
First, what I will do is, this is a simple way, right? P4 equals to capital O, right? So what is
Sir, I think you
P4?
have to use
Sorry?
this thing quotes.
E- Okay, yeah. Okay, sorry. I just used a zero here. It should be capital O. Yeah, good. So yeah, I can do this, right? What is P4 giving me? P4 is giving me, whenever you use a star on the left hand side, you are trying to replace the value that is there in that address. I think you guys are clear with this, right? There are two things. When you use a star, then a pointer variable, on the left hand side, what do you get of an equal to? What do you get? You get the value, right? That is located in the address. But then when you use the star pointer on the left hand side, then what you are doing is you are trying to modify that value. So then what happens is you go to that address and you place a new value in that address. So these are two different behaviors of the star operator. When you use it on the right hand side, you just read the value, and when you use on the left hand side, you replace that value with whatever value you have on the right hand side. Yeah. So now what I'm doing here is I'm just saying P4 equals to 0. I'm sorry, P4 equals to capital O. That means I have replaced the fourth character with a capital version. That is capital O. So now let me just print the string. How do I print the string? Tell me, guys.
%sp.
Good. So let's see what happens. Why did this happen? Tell me. This could be one of your exam questions. I got a segmentation fault.
We have
Why?
to put star P, I guess.
What? No, that's fine. Nah? I mean, all these things are equivalent, right? Even if you do this, it's the same thing. Even if you do this.
No, in the printf statement, I think.
Okay, okay. Let's see. First, let me try this. Okay, segmentation fault again. See, printf, see, you are wrong basically, because when you use star p, what do you get? Star p will give you the value of the first byte, right? Value of the first character. It will not give you the, because printf needs the starting address, right? To print the string. When you use the star p, what do you get? You get the value located in the first byte. You don't get the address. So that itself is wrong, right? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Star P
Yes,
and P
sir.
are not equivalent, right? Printf needs the starting address to do the printing. Printf does not need a value, right? Even if it gets the value of h, what will it do with the value of h? It has no way of knowing where to go next, right? To print the other characters. So star P is definitely not going to help. What is this? One suggestion is coming from yes, remove the star from character pointer. Okay, this one, you mean to say this? Yes. Okay, but that would be wrong, right? I mean, then your left hand side and right hand side are not same data. I mean, left hand side is giving you an address and right hand side is just a character. Sorry, left hand side is just a character and right hand side is giving you an address. This will give you a syntax error. See? This is so directly wrong, na? Because whenever you have an equal to sign, remember both the left hand and right hand side, they have to equate to the same data type always. If you don't use casting, if you use casting, that's a different case. But if you use without casting, both the data types on the left hand side and right hand side has to be same. If they are not same, you see an syntax, you see an error in the compilation. Yes, so the problem here is we are trying to modify a string. What kind of string are we trying to modify? We are trying to modify a constant string. Literals are constant values, right? So what do I mean by that? I'll explain. Wait. See, when I say hello world goes in your program memory, who decided that for you? Who gave you that address? that address was randomly allocated by the loader, maybe let's when loading your program, right? So that means this hello world, this literal, is not a variable. Remember, this is not a variable. This is a program data. This is a program data which is part of your program. It's something like this. I'll just try and visualize this. So let's say I have integer x equals to 2, right? So this 2, this the value of 2, this 2 will occupy some memory in your program, isn't it? Because it's a part of your program text, right? So it's part of your program data. So 2 will be, let's say 2 will be located in address 0, address 100 and 101, because it's an integer. So it will, let's say it will take 2 bytes. But can you modify 2, the value 2 in your program? Can you modify this value? Can you get the address of 2 somehow? Is it possible? Tell me. You can get the address of the variable, that's fine. But can you get the address of a constant?
No, I think no, sir.
It's not possible, na? You cannot say you cannot get the address key to kahan pe load hua program memory mein. You cannot get the address because 2 is a constant value, right? There is no way possible in which you could get where is 2 loaded in memory. But this is different in case of string literals. String literals may you need the address of the starting, you need the address of the string, and then only you can print it, right? So somehow you got hold of the constant value. Constant values are values which cannot be changed once they have been there. Once they are placed in memory, you cannot change the values. So now this particular thing here, it is actually giving you an address where this particular string got loaded, right? So this is something like you are somehow getting the address of 2 somehow using an AND operator somehow. But it is not possible with integers, but it is possible with strings. But now, given that luxury, you are trying to do something which you should not do. You are trying to modify a constant value that is there, that is part of your program text or your program data, and you're trying to modify that itself. So that's why you are getting a segmentation fault. You are not allowed, you are only allowed to read that memory. You are not allowed to alter that memory. And you are altering that memory here.
Sir, so what exactly is segmentation fault?
Segmentation fault is when you're touching memory which you are not supposed to. When you're trying to alter memory which you are not supposed to. For example, if you have let's say if you have an array on let's say two values, but then you index an array, let's say a of, you can, if you have two value of, if you have a two-sized array, you can go a of 0 and a of 1 only, right, in the indices. But then let's say instead of that you say a of 100. What are you trying to do? You are trying to access memory which is out, which is out of your out of the size of the array. That means you are trying to access memory which you are not supposed to. So then you get a segmentation fault. In this case, similarly, you're trying to alter memory which you're not supposed to alter. That's why you get a segmentation fault.
So, but like we are changing the variable p, not the constant, right? In this case.
Sorry.
So in this case, we are not we are altering the variable p.
No, we are not altering the variable p. Na? How did you get that? We are trying to alter the address. So this, I mean, this value inside this parenthesis, it will give me an address, right? It will give me the address of O. And when I'm using a star on the LHS, you know that we are trying to write a new value in that address. So that means I'm trying to go inside this string, and I'm trying to replace the 4th or 5th byte with a new value, which I'm not supposed to.
Sir, and if we had taken the input as hello world, then can we do that?
Yes. So this is where the concept of a variable comes into picture now. So now, because you would want to modify strings, right? So that means you have to store strings in variables now, not in this literal way. That is not in this program constant. So these are program constants. This number 2, this hello world, there are program constants. I mean, they will be allocated memory, but dare not you touch the memory and modify it. You can touch the memory, but dare not you modify that memory. This is the concept of a constant in your in a language perspective. But then your strings would not be always constants, right? You would want to play with strings, you want to modify strings, you want to do this, you want to do that, you want to concatenate strings. So that means you have to use variables for storage of strings, just like you use integers here, right? So once you have the value of 2 stored in X, now you could modify X and the way you suppose the way you wish in a program. So that's where the concept of a string variable comes now. I am trying to draw this line between a string literal, a string constant, and a string variable. Literals are constants which you cannot touch, or which you can not touch, which you cannot modify. Variables are something which have which belongs in this modifiable space, data space within your program's memory. Literals are something which belongs in that unmodifiable space in your program memory. Is this distinction clear, guys? This is a very subtle. I mean, this is a very it's a very involved. It's a very important distinction actually. You have to know this difference, because sometimes some tricky questions are made out of this kind of concepts. Okay, so now we have established that we cannot modify a string literal in this way. So that means now we want to modify this word hello world string. How would I do that? Tell me now. What is the way to do this?
Store it in an array.
Exactly. Now I have to actually store the hello world in a variable memory, which is part of my modifiable space. So how would I do that? I will just say character P and let's say 10. So now it's simple, right? Now we all know what's going to happen. Now let's see.
Semicolon.
Where did I miss the semicolon? Okay.
It's 11 o'clock.
Okay, I get it. I have to use a bigger space. For that matter, I don't want to use any number here. So what happens is if I don't use any number, let's see what happens. See, my program will automatically allocate it how much space. It will allocate it the space that is equal to this length here. Is this clear? Even if I don't write a value here, because I may not know, I just have to count it, right? The counting is a tiring job. I mean, I just have to count.
Sir, I think 11 would work.
I know 11 would work, but if you just leave it empty, the compiler automatically count it and then allocate it that much space. So yeah, for your clarity, let's put it at 11. Okay, now let's see what happens. See, now I see hello. I mean, the O is modified now. See, it's a very interesting example. See, now what happened? So now what happened? The moment instead of a pointer P, instead of this, all that I did was I just said 11 here. So what did I do here? Just look at this definition here. So what I did here is I said I am declaring an array now. I am declaring an array. Just remember that, guys. That means I have allocated an area in my modifiable space. Right? So this thing is equivalent. Character, integer X. When I say integer X, I am declaring a variable in my modifiable space, which I can vary at my wish, right? In my program, which I can change at my wish. Similarly, in this line, I am creating an array variable of 11 characters in my modifiable space, and I can modify that at my wish. And I'm storing this value. I mean, I'm storing this string in that modifiable space. That's why in this line I could go to that byte, 4th byte, and then just change it. Previously, whenever I used this, that means I got an address, but then that address was not in my modifiable range. That address was in my unmodifiable range. I could read the characters in that address, but I cannot modify it. But when I used 11, that means I created an array of 11 characters in my modifiable space, and in that array I am storing this. I'm storing this string. Now I can modify this string. Is this clear, guys?
So do we have to account for null character as well when counting the length?
Exactly. Let's not count for null character. Tell me how many characters are here now. Tell me how many are here.
10.
10.
10. So that means let's do it at 10. Let's see if it works. I mean, sometimes it works. See, it does not work. You see it, right? All these revelations are coming today, man. Good. Why it does not work? Because there is a hidden null character in the string. We have to account for that as well. If you don't account for that, what happens is you say the area, the modifiable area that you have defined is not big enough to hold the string.
Sir?
Is this clear to everyone, guys? I'm just talking to few people here. I don't know about the rest 90% of you what's happening.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. Yeah, someone
Sir,
has a question.
so basically when we store string as in pointers, then we have to modify the whole pointer as a whole. Like we have to modify the whole hello world instead of character by character if we want to modify.
Okay, now you are saying instead of a character array, we want to use a pointer, right?
Sir, I just want to confirm if is it so like if we store the string in pointer, then we can modify the whole string instead of character by character.
I mean, you see, with pointers you can do the same things. There's no limitation with using pointers. You can do the same thing as I am doing with this character array. There's no difference actually. Do you understand why there is no difference?
How to do that using pointers then?
Yeah. Do you understand why there is no difference? Because see, what is an array and what is a pointer? Whenever they're both the same thing actually. Array is just, you could say, yes, good. Let's do this now. I think has sir taught you this already? The arrays and pointers, why both the things are the same?
Yes, sir, but with integers.
Array with जो भी integer वो the same thing with characters only. The concept will not change, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. This is a very standard example which we all show. देखिए यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? I have written a printf expression, right? And then I have used two things on the right hand side. What is this? Tell me p. When I use p, what happens?
Address of p.
Address of h.
Exactly. P will give me the base address of the array, or the starting address, or the address of the first character in the string, h. That's it. And then what is this now? What will this give me? What is, forget the and now. What is p of 0? P of 0 is going to give me h, right? Character h, yeah. And then when I use and, that means it will give me the address of h. Right? So both these two things are the same. That means whenever you are declaring an array, you are actually declaring a pointer as well. How could you get hold of the pointer version? Just use the name of the array. Just use, instead of doing a p4, you could just say p plus 4 and do the same arithmetic that we did last time. See, that's also a modification. Array is just a way of saying give me 10 characters. Just give me 10 characters worth of data in my modifiable space. And the starting address of that location is the pointer, right? So whenever I use the name of the array, what is the name of the array here? P. That name gives me the address of the first byte or the first entry of the array, which is the pointer. So arrays and pointers are both the same.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, so I understood something out of this, and please tell me if it's right. I mean,
Yes.
so the only difference between assignment through pointers and assignment through a character array is that in the latter we get the access to the whole array, whereas in the former only the first byte is what we can access. Is that true?
Exactly. That's a very good observation. So what happens is, if I just say pointer of p, okay, So let's see what I get. So if I now, let's say just pointer of p, what I will get here is I will just get h, that is hello. What happened? Okay, I have to do 11. You guys understand, right? 10 and 11. Why do you
Sir,
have to do?
sir, one doubt.
Yes.
So here P of 0 is H, right?
Yeah, P of 0 is h.
Then P of 9 has to be D.
Why?
Then, isn't
Yes.
it so?
Yeah, because there are 10
Then
characters, right?
the slash 0 is just one character, right? So what is the need for another space? Like 10 is enough, right?
Did you forget your counting in your counting starts from 0, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is 10 values.
Oh, okay.
If
Sorry.
you count from 0, it's up to 9, it's 10 values. Now, if you count one more, that is 11 values. Because counting arrays start with 0. Remember that.
Sir, when we use pointer, is there any size specification or we can use any size we need of arrays?
Yeah, you can use any size. There's no limitation. I
So
mean,
that's the
don't
advantage of a pointer allocation.
of an array, you mean?
Pointer, I mean, we don't need to specify the size. No matter what the size, we can just allocate it, right?
Exactly. Wait, let me do code there. So you cannot have this big size for that matter. Just don't use such big sizes, because then your program will be out of memory. Every program, your system gives every program some memory to run inside. If you just use arbitrarily so big memories, then you cannot. So just try to limit it between maybe 1,000 or 10,000, not more than that. Okay, that's one question. That's one thing. So I'll just print this output here. So for people who are asking about pointers and arrays, so yeah, so what will I get? See, I will get the address of the address, and then I will get h. That is, whenever you use pointer star of the array name, you just get hold of the first byte, right? You just get hold of the first entry of the array. So now, as someone was asking, if I use a pointer, do I have to allocate space, or I can just say pointer and I can just write anything in the pointer? That's what your question was, right?
Yes, sir.
What you are saying is, if I say pointer p, then I don't have to allocate space, right? Automatically I will get space for this character, for this string. But that is never the case. You have to allocate space always in your modifiable area. Only then you can make a pointer point to that address, and then you can access the things in that modifiable range.
Oh yeah, so this is the reason we cannot modify the string, right?
Yeah, but then this is one reason, and another reason is this particular thing is in an unmodifiable space, which you cannot. Yeah, I mean, if you have to allocate pointers in your modifiable range, you have to give it you have to allocate physically some space, and then only you can operate on it.
Excuse me, sir.
Have you guys seen this malloc? Has sir taught you this?
No, sir.
Okay, then let me not go there. So yeah, so just remember, whoever was asking me that question, that you have to allocate space, and only then you can only then you can make a pointer point to that space. That's why you have to allocate a character array here, and then you can make any number of pointers point to this point to this space. For example, you could have a character z, and then you could say, sorry, you could have a character pointer z, and you can make it point to that address. Again, you could have other pointers, let's say w, and you can make it point to p. So, but you have to allocate space. Otherwise, you cannot modify it, or you cannot operate anything. You have to allocate space within your modifiable range, and then only you can operate.
Excuse me, sir.
Is this clear? Yeah, wait, whoever
Yeah.
asking me that question, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Sir, in layman's term, can we say that when we directly use a pointer, star p is equal to hello world, the pointer will give me the location to the hello world, which is loaded in the part of the memory where the program will be stored. Matlab everything,
Yes.
hash include and everything.
Exactly.
And when I use an array, it will copy that hello world into another location and it will give me pointer to that location.
Yeah, you have put it very nicely. That's it.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
When we take a string from the user, it generally ignores everything after a spacebar. But
Yes, now let us come to that. Your string variables is clear, right? This is how you store string variables using character arrays. And how you operate on that, you operate it, you can operate it directly with the array itself, or you can use the pointers. You can also use the pointers to operate on it. Okay, so let me now come to how do you read and write? How do you read and write strings, or how do you take input from the user? That is what is the last section, I guess, for today. String functions, maybe let's see if we can cover string functions. I mean, I'll cover this 2 or 3 string functions. Okay, but I'll just leave it. Okay, so that's what your question is, that how do you read strings, right, from the user?
no, I mean over here, everything after hello, I mean, we have a space after hello, but the word thing is also read. But when we take string from the user, it won't be read.
Yeah, I'll come to that. That's what I was coming to. Let me just say now. See, now I just want to declare a memory, but I don't want to initialize it in a string value, right? Now what does this statement do? This statement will simply, this character p100, it will just give me 100 characters. Now I want to store a string in that range, 100 characters wide area. So uske liye what do? I say scanf %s, and then what do I do? What do I need on the scanf? Tell me. I need the address, right?
Yes.
So uske liye mujhe what do I have to do?
Just p would be enough.
Yes, exactly. The p is enough. The p will give me the address. Remember the starting address, because everything starts from that address thing, right? Starts from that place. Okay, now let's see what happens. How do I print a string? Simple. Printf. Printing में इतना वो नहीं करना है. Printf. You can use either printf %sp, or there is one more function called puts. Puts will also do the same thing. It will print a string directly. Just remember these two functions. Just remember this function called puts. You can use it later. It's equivalent of printf. Okay, so now let's see what happens. Okay. See, I got my string, right? I got my string. Now let's enter hello world. What did I get? What did I get in my string variable? Tell me.
Hello.
Yes, I did not get the world. Why? Because that is the behavior of %s with scanf. Scanf will keep on reading the input character by character, and the moment it sees a space, it kind of just cuts your input stream in that place and says, okay, this is the string now. It will nicely pack those characters which it has seen till now before the space, append a \0, and then make it part of the variable, array variable.
Or will the space be part of the string?
No, array. The array would not. Sorry, the space would not be part, because that is where it ends. Now, the scanf would not look past beyond that. It stays in the buffer. I will show you a very good example at the very last, like 5 minutes maybe of this class. Then you will see.
Okay. So
yes.
If you were to use scanf C, I mean, basically, I'm asking for a character multiple times.
Yes.
It will ignore the spaces, right, and then go on to the next input.
That's a good way of doing it, but then you are not inputting strings. Now you are inputting characters, and then you are storing it in a character array.
I mean, sir, in one of the problems, I used a while loop to
yes, that's a perfectly good thing. You can use scanf %c, and then you can keep on. See, because ultimately this character array is an array of characters, right?
Yes, sir.
So you can simply do this p of what do tell me. Then you can
P
just
of I, and then I increment I in every loop.
This is what you have done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Does this line make sense for everyone, guys?
And then do a not equal to EOF, I guess.
Or you can do a \n also. It's
Yes,
fine.
sir.
EOF or \n.
Okay, so what I was asking, sir, in this, when I use this while loop, it just ignores the white space. I mean, it goes on to the.
It just the character.
While if I were to use S, it would stop at hello.
Exactly.
So Okay,
Yeah.
so there's a
So that's
difference
a
between the two.
behavior of scanf with percentile s. It will treat the white space
Okay,
as a delimiter, and it will say, okay, the string ends here.
okay, sir.
Sir,
Yes, tell me.
when we press return, does it mean we are printing? I mean, we are giving a backslash character.
Yes, we are giving a backslash. See, again, going back to the very first discussions on scanf, whenever you place backslash, you signal, right, scanf to start passing the buffer and coming out. So that's the backslash n. It is not part of a string. It stays in the scanf buffer.
But so
But
can scanf take in \n?
Well, you have to.
Because I did this. Well,
It
I
does,
did the
yeah.
while loop thing, and the last character of that array was a \n. I used an if statement to check if it was a \n.
Scanf can take a backslash n, but then let's leave it as a separate discussion, because
Okay,
I have
sir.
to introduce some new format specifier for that. There is a way. I don't know. I vaguely remember there is something called a circumflex. It's called circumflex. I don't know why, but there is a certain format specifier using which you could actually say what all characters you want scanf to not treat as delimiter. You could actually put that backslash n in that list and say, okay, don't treat backslash n as a delimiter, treat something else as a delimiter now. So when that something else will be there in your inputs buffer, then your stress scanf will come out, or then its case scanf will end. Yeah, this is circumflex. Yeah, just try to read some things on this. I mean, let's not go there because I have to cover something else as well.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, so that's one very bad thing with scanf percentile s, that the moment it sees a space, it ends your string. Okay, but then this is a very good way of doing it. That is, just read your entire thing character by character and store it in the character array. Fine, but then there is one problem here. The problem is you would not add the \0. This thing would not add the \0 by default. Remember that. Because
Yes, sir. Yeah, I used
right,
another counter int CTR for maintaining
exactly.
that.
So now finally, when you come out of this loop, you have to say again, you have to do this, and finally then only your string will be ready. Then you have to say \0. Then only your string is ready, because this while loop will just read character, and it will put it in the character array one after another with the index ++. But then when it comes out with the \n, it does not append the \0 by default. That you have to put the \0 by default. And why do you have to put the \0? Because if you don't put the \0 at the end of a string, your string functions would not work. First of all, maybe you can traverse the array and do your own logic. But then if you want, let's say, a printf to work, or if it's strl and the string length function to work, those functions will not work, because those functions rely on this \n being at the end of the string to do their operation. If they don't find the \0, then it will keep on reading, and it will not even see a \0, and then your program will behave very weirdly, or there might be a segmentation fault. Does this point make sense, guys? Why do you have to put a \0 to end a string? It is for the functions to operate properly, the string functions, the strlns, maybe the size of function, or the other functions which operate on strings. Those functions rely on the programmer or the program giving it a string variable or a character variable which contains a string with a \n0 at the end. If it does not, then the function's logic would fail, and then it will simply go on scanning until it does not find a \0, and the program will just give you a segmentation fault. Does this make sense?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Sir, is there any way to accept white space then? Because in some problems we have to.
I will come to that now. The very end.
Okay.
Wait. Okay, so let's do one very just to stress on this point further, that why is \0 important. So let me just do this. Wait, let me just say at the so let me just put this. Now tell me, what if I input hello world, what will I get? Tell me.
For HEL.
Exactly. Good. See, you got only HE. Why? Because I have force-fitted a value of \0 at the end of the third. I mean, now the string contains \0 at the third location, and printf will go there and it will say stop. The string ends here, and it will just print HE. So you can actually truncate the strings like this. This is called string truncation, right? You can truncate the string by putting \0 where you want the string to truncate, to be truncated. Good. Now let us finally go to, so by the way, guys, remember this is a very good, the best way to read the strings maybe which contains many things, maybe because scanf percentile might be tacky at times. You could use just read character by character, and then you just fill the entire character array, put a \0 and say this is a string. That's a very good way of filling a string variable or a character array. Sorry. Good. I am just reading the text now. I mean the book. See, where are we? Okay, fine. So now, as someone was asking, see, this character way of doing filling your string is perfectly fine. But then let's say we want to use scanf to store multiple values, right? Sorry, to store strings with spaces. How do I do that? That's what the question is, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So let me just pull up the program. Give me a second, guys. Just give me a moment. Till then, if you guys have any question, you can ask. I'm just I have written the program in some other machine actually. So you could do a lot of things actually. Just read the book and try all these experiments by yourself. These are really interesting experiments to do. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so now, see again, to read function to read strings which contain spaces, there are functions to do this. There is a function called gets, and there is something called fgets. So you could just read the syntax online, and then you could just make the make it work. These functions will also populate the character array with spaces. I mean, you could input strings with spaces using these functions. But then there's the easy way out, right? So what if someone asks you to use scanf, and then read strings containing spaces? What do you do in that case? Do you guys have any suggestions what to do? I'm just writing now. See, now what I want is I want to fill an entire sentence now with different words, right? So every time I say scanf percentile word, the moment I hit so the moment it sees a backslash, it sees a white space, it will put that thing in this variable called word, right? So this is what it is. So now the sentence will be made up of multiple words. So that means there must be some way for me to insert the words that I'm seeing into this sentence. So I have two character arrays now. One character array will just read my input word by word. What do I mean by word? Word is a string of characters terminated by space, right? The moment I see a space, that's a word. So this is where I read a word, and I can only read words. I can only read one word at a time from scanf. You guys agree on this, right? What happened to Sir's voice? Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Shavak, what happened to your mic?
Must be my internet connection, sir. I don't know what is.
Yeah. Okay, fine. See, this particular sentence here, sorry, this particular statement here, scanf, what is it? What will it give you? It will give you the words, right? So if I say hello world, it will give me hello. It will not give me the world part, because hello is the word. It will give me one word at a time. And what is a word? Word is a string of characters terminated by a white space character. So now the moment I read a word from my buffer, I have to insert that word into my sentence. So sentence is like, you could say, it's like that holding area for all the words. The moment I see a word, I insert it into the sentence. Then I go for the next word, insert into the sentence. Go for the next word, insert into the sentence. So this is the line through which I am reading the word. Now let me just.
Sir,
yes.
\0 would also be counted into the words, right?
Exactly. I'll come to that.
So we need to skip it while printing it.
Yeah, I'll come to that. That's a good question. Yeah. So yeah. So now this statement is clear, right? The first statement, that is, I am reading word at a time. Now I have to insert the word into the sentence. So how do I do that? First, I have to iterate on. So this example will cover most of the things that we covered today, actually. So what does the string length function do, guys? Tell me quick, fast.
Gives the length of string.
Exactly. And how does it operate? Can someone guess now quickly? How does string length operate?
\0 it will count.
Exactly. It will go until it sees a \0. The moment it sees \0, matlab string length is that, right? So that means string length would not include the \0 as a part of the string.
So
you wrote world.
Sorry. strlen word. So string length would not consider \0 as a part of the string. Remember that. So that means this for loop helped me skip the \0. Now I am only reading the characters. Is it okay? I'm only reading the characters of the word that I have just received. What do I do now? I have to insert those characters into my sentence. And for that, I need an index, right? So I have to declare an offset variable here. I think this should be enough. See, what does this mean? This line now. Tell me what is happening here. Every time I'm seeing a new word, I am adding that word to the sentence. That is my sentence array, which contains all the words. So that's why I have a running counter here. That counter is initialized to 0. And then let's say for the very first word, how is the very first word populated? It will just, let's say the first word is hello. So sentence 0 offset 0, it will be 0, right? So then sentence 1, sentence 2, sentence 3, sentence 4. The offset will go up to 4. And then at the same time, it will pick up all the characters in the word except the \0 and put it in those locations. Next time when I see a word, the offset does not change yet. The offset is at 4. Now the population of the sentence will start from that index, because I have not reset the offset anywhere, right, to 0. The offset is at the place where I have ended the last word.
So don't we have to add a space?
Yeah, we will do that. Okay, so we'll do that. So let's first not add a space. Now I have to set a delimiter, right? How do I set a delimiter? I mean, when do I say my sentence has ended? When I say enter. When I see a enter sent from my keyboard, that means my sentence has ended. And how do I do that? Because remember, \n stays in the scanf buffer. So whenever I see all the other words will get consumed here, right? So the \n would still be there in the buffer, scanf buffer. So when I say get car, that means it will read the \n, and whenever it sees a \n, it will come out of this loop.
Sir, can you explain what get car function does?
Yes, wait. Okay, this is the entire program. Okay, let's first run it and see what happens. Okay, then I will explain it to you, see what is happening. Let's see, I have not done any mistake. Okay. Yeah, another important, very important thing. So for string functions, you have to use this string.h. So this is the header file for string functions. Okay, let's do one thing. So what happened, guys? I read all the words perfectly, right? I read Happy New Year, right? See, I read Happy New Year. But then since I have not inserted spaces, that's why all these things are clubbed together inside the sentence. So this is the sentence that I have printed, and these are the words. So now let me tell you how is it be. The output is clear at least, guys, right? So why is there no space? Because I am just putting all the characters, right? I did not include the space anywhere. So if I have to include the space, then all that I have to do here is I have to just say sen sentence offset plus plus equals to space. See? Okay, so now let me explain it to you how this program is behaving. Guys, are you with me here? I can hear no one now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, we are.
So I need this constant like voice over from you guys to keep me active, otherwise I go dull. Okay, let's see what is happening here. So why am I printing this iter here, printf? I just want to see how many times has this loop been executed, this do while loop. And now I will be taking you guys back to our scanf discussions in the last time that we had. I'm not going to leave you guys so easily. So let me do this. So now this entire discussion now will be based on the discussion that we had in the scanf last time that we met, when we met, sorry. So now let's compile it, str. Okay, now let's fill the buffer. Do you guys still remember the trick how you used to do this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Or you completely forgotten it? Okay, let me quickly do this. I don't have time. 5 more minutes. I always go overboard. So tell me, what is there in the buffer? Hello, so Happy New Year. So this is what I entered, right? Right, this is what I entered. This is what is there in my buffer. So now let me do this, Happy New Year. Fine, this is what is in the buffer. Now when I do a \n, now let me say \n, right? Now when I do this, when I do a \n, remember I signal the scanf to start reading the buffer and try to match whatever is there in the format specifier, right? So what happened now is, yes, so what happened here, the moment I say enter, which way that is when there is a \n, scanf will read this now first, right? Scanf will read this and then it will match. That means what is there in my program? My buffer has Happy New Year \n. The scanf now, whenever I say enter, this scanf will become active and it will just read the first word, by the way, and then this scanf will return. I mean, this scanf will come here. It will print this. That is the first. The first scanf is over basically. That's why I get the first print of the iteration first. And what the first scanf was able to do, the first scanf was successfully able to read this happy from the buffer. Because it ended with a space, that means it has read the word here. But is the buffer empty? The buffer is not empty, right? So buffer is not empty. That means the buffer still has new and year inside it. So that means, and I have not seen the backslash 0 now. Backslash 0 is still there. I mean, how, what is the way for me to go to backslash n if I have consumed new and year as well? Only if new and year has been removed from the buffer, then only I can get to backslash n. Otherwise, there is no way for me to get to backslash n. That means I have not come to this point here. That is, I have not reached backslash n. So now another scanf will be active here. That means one more iteration will be active, in which in the second iteration, the scanf will read the new as well, the new year. Sorry, the new now, the word new. And then again it will come out. And again it will come out and come to the second iteration. It will print this value.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, shouldn't the second scanf start reading from space, which was left after the first one?
No, because I have used the get car here, right? The get car consumes the space now. Do you see what I'm trying to?
Get car gets active only in the end, right?
No, it's a do while loop, right? Every time all these statements execute, you have to check this also, right? How does it do while?
Okay.
You guys have covered do while loops, right?
Yes, sir, got it.
Yeah, what is a do while loop? All these statements will execute in every iteration. Starting from this, even the get car will execute. So यहाँ पे होगा क्या? So यहाँ पे, so there is a space here. So let me just say
so
space.
Get car uses that one
yes,
point in the buffer.
Exactly. Space. Yes. So get car will consume this space, and then the next scanf will use the new, consume the new. Again, the get car will consume the space. The next scanf will consume the year. Yes.
If you were to add a space in the beginning, sir, instead of in between, then get car wouldn't be able to consume that space, right?
I think then you will see some weird output. Let's see what happens.
I think scanf will ignore that space, I guess. Maybe, I think so.
Yeah, it will ignore it.
Okay, sir. So what exactly does get car do? Does it remove that character from the buffer?
It removes it. Yes. You have done this already, right? In the while loop that I just printed last
We have
time.
done while loop, but sir, not get car.
Then
So
how will you reading
what if
characters?
we put two spaces?
Okay, let's try that. That's a good thing. So what if we put two spaces? See, even if I put two spaces, right?
Okay, sir. So what I was trying to ask, would there be any case where get car would remove valuable input from the buffer? Say
because that valuable input is already consumed by scanf. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
That's because we have coded it that way. If we had made a mistake, get car would have consumed some value.
Yes. That get car would have consumed part of a string, part of a word maybe. But the way we have written scanf, right? It will consume the word, and whatever is left, that is consumed by get car.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I have this question that why is this this iter printing after we hit enter, right? Like, because when we print hello.
Okay. I'll come to that. Yeah. Why it happens is because remember when I'm still reading input, right? I'm still reading input. That means my buffer is still getting filled. Remember the scanf goes to a like pause state, right? And then whenever I press enter, then the scanf becomes active. That means, wait, I entered something wrong. Yeah. Sorry, I have to go to the program. Yeah, sorry. So what happens is, see, I will come to this scanf, right? And your program will go to a pause state. It will just pause. Now it is waiting for your buffer to get filled, and it is waiting for the user to press enter. The moment it presses enter, the program will resume from scanf. That is, scanf will become active now. And then it will consume the first word. And then after it consumes the first word, whatever is left from the buffer, get car will consume that. And then whenever I go to the next scanf, next iteration, scanf has, there is already things on the buffer. So scanf does not have to halt. Scanf will just consume whatever is now left over from the buffer. And then the iterations will go on. That's why in the very first iteration, when the buffer contains no input, that's where your program will halt. The moment you press enter, the iterations will become active now. And with every iteration, The scanf will consume something, some word from the buffer, populate the sentence, and then it will progress until the get car receives a backslash n from the input, or until the get car sees a backslash n in the buffer.
Sir, I have two questions. So first is, why is the scanf not why is the printf thing not happening when we print space, when we type space?
Printf is out of this loop, right? Acha, okay, you are saying this printf.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, when we press space, space is not the way of signaling the scanf, right, to read the buffer. What did I tell you? Enter is the signal which goes. Until and unless you press enter, the scanf will not receive the signal which will wake it up from the sleep, which will like it will say scanf come and now scan the buffer. Space is not going to do that. Only the enter is going to do that.
Okay, sir. And also, why don't we have to press enter every time?
Okay, let me just do one thing first. Okay, fine. Yeah, so why? Because the moment the first enter that you press, right, now you have supplied a buffer to scanf. You have supplied it, right? You have supplied a buffer. Then the first scanf is happy. The first scanf receives the first word because there is a space in the buffer. Okay, now it sees this is the first word. When the second scanf, because this loop does not end with the first iteration, right? So in the second iteration, when the scanf is still active, the scanf does not have to stop now for any signal because the buffer contains data now. Previously in the first iteration, the scanf was halting because the buffer did not have any data. So the programmer had to enter and then send a signal to start scanning the buffer to scanf. In the second iteration, when the scanf is already awake, the scanf sees the buffer has already data inside it. So it will just read the data. It will not wait for the signal to come. The scanf only waits when the buffer is empty. That is when it is expecting input from the user. Is your doubt clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good. So that's the end then for today's lecture, guys.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, in the sentence array, how will we get the final null character?
How will we get the final null? That's a very good thing, actually. I think. Okay, that's a very good. I think it will.
Offset would work, wouldn't it, sir?
Sorry.
No, this I was saying the integer offset would maybe work as the last.
Yeah, that's fine. So we can just, I think it is getting added by default actually, because I'm reading these words, right? In the final word, this backslash n comes, I think, with that backslash 0. Or you could just you could just put it manually. Let's see what happens. Just to be clear that your program is not going to screw you up. Yes.
But sir, if you don't put it manually, then also it comes.
Then also it's coming. I think it's coming from somewhere. You guys just look, just try to think on this. Maybe.
Sir,
Yeah.
if we can see the size of the sentence, then we can know if there are null characters in sentence or not.
Just use this size.
I think so. Then it should be an integer %d.
Oh, sorry. Size of will return you 100 now.
Yeah, sir, we have to use string length.
Yeah, string length. Well, it is 14 because after the, I think, world also there is a space. Just guys, I don't know why it's 14, but just try to figure it out. What are these extra characters?
Also, please change it to %s and this remove the string length thing. There's just question mark coming.
There is a question mark coming, right?
Yes, sir.
Sentence. No, it's not. I think there are two extra spaces at the end.
So, but in the previous thing.
Oh, there is a space at the beginning also. See? I think there's a space at the beginning at the end. Guys, do one thing. I mean, I will just copy paste this. Wait, in the chat, I'll just copy paste this program.
The space in the beginning is due to the space you have given in printf.
Yes, sir. Space. There is a space in the end also. So there are two spaces and two null characters. That would be.
Okay, yeah. So try to do one thing, guys. I'll just
There are
copy
two
paste
null
it in the,
characters.
yeah, I just copy paste in the chat. So do one thing. Just try to like maybe decompose this and see, because you can just print the ASCII values. ASCII value will give you the best analysis of this. What is going on inside. Okay, but this program, I mean, don't use this. I mean, you could use the fgets, and because those functions are behaving the same way. I mean, I just gave you this to get a feel of this scanf input output and then
fgets or gets, which one of the two should we use?
You use fgets maybe. Fgets is better than f.
Okay.
Use the fgets. Okay, so I have to take another class at 12. So that's fine then, guys.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, bye.